Okay, so first picking out the item that you're going to be upcycling. Most adult sizes will work for this, but if you're kind of intimidated by that, go ahead and print out the front piece of that sweater romper and take it with you when you're shopping. So first off, you want to make sure that you have enough length for that. Make sure that your waistband isn't part of that. And also the design, you just want to make sure that you have it where you like how it's going to look. Sometimes the pattern is a little big and it just works out fine. Sometimes if you want the image to be a little smaller, then you're going to want to look for something like that. Like here, my Adidas sign, you know, it's going to cover a lot of that romper front, but that's okay. And I have plenty of length at the bottom, so that's something that you'd look at. Here on this one, this is the design is a little bit big. As you can see, it's gonna be cut off a little bit, which is something that you'll just consider whether you like that design that way or not. So yeah, different things to consider. So before you start cutting anything, I would lay out your pattern and kind of look to see where things are going to land. Sometimes I do cut around seams and sew them up, and it's just, you know, something that doesn't really bother me. If you don't want to cut out seams, then I would suggest you just double check that you're able to cut out the pattern piece without cutting into a seam. But for me, it's fine and it works perfectly fine. You can't really tell. And then also at the bottom, you want to make sure that, again, you're not cutting into that waistband. And then I'll take a marker here and I'll kind of mark out where I'm going to be cutting over those seams so that I don't cut too close, and then I'll have enough room for my whole pattern. So as you can see here, I cut off one of the sleeves and I just made sure that I didn't cut too close to where I needed it to be for my pattern. So now I'm just going to go ahead and keep on cutting. I'm going to cut the other sleeve where I need it to be, and then the rest I'm just going to start cutting at the seams. Once you've cut it all up, you're going to want to unstitch your pocket piece with your seam ripper. Alright, so now you should have your sleeves, your two cuffs, your pocket, your hood, your waistband, and then your front and back pieces. So now you're just going to cut out your pattern pieces as you would any other pattern. So I'm going to lay here, cut out my front piece. And same with the back piece. And then cut out your sleeve for your sleeve. Now for your cuffs, I can just look here and tell that I'm going to have plenty of fabric for my cuffs. Sometimes though they are a little short, especially even for the adult. As you can see here, this one's going to be cutting it really close for that cuff. So what I would do, instead of cutting it open, I would unstitch it. Unstitch the whole cuff so that I can have every part of that cuff to use for my upcycle. Okay, so grab your cuff, cut it open at the seam, and then cut it up open long ways. As you can see, by cutting it open this way, I kind of lost a little bit of that top part, which is about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Like I said, if I was cutting it close on that cuff, I would go ahead and rip it open so that I have more fabric to work with. So just cut it out like normal. Okay, and now you're going to cut out your pocket using your pocket. And then your waistband is what you're going to use for your leg bands. So cut it open like you would your other cuff and kind of lay it out here. As you can see, I'm going to have enough room to cut out both of my leg bands. So I'm just going to cut it open like I did my other cuff. Okay, so open it up and lay it out. Sometimes if I have enough room, I will just cut it folded like this so that I get two. But for this one, it's kind of close, so I'm just going to cut it out one at a time. Okay, so now for your hood. There's a couple ways to do the hood. As you can see here, my hood here has kind of a weird shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out and sew it up like I would any other hood I was doing with the pattern. Okay, after I cut it up, I still am kind of a little close, so I'm gonna unpick that seam right there so that I have a little bit more room to work with. And after I've unstitched it, it will unfold and I will have a little bit more room. Okay, now I'll just cut out those two opposites with using my hood. Another option, if your hood kind of works out where it fits pretty good around that pattern piece, I would just cut it and kind of just do a little bit of a ruffle at the bottom so that it fits. So what I would do is I would cut maybe like a ½ inch up and cut it off and then just use that hood as is. It's kind of a cheating way to do it and it works out pretty well. Another way would be grabbing a hood. This one's a little smaller because it's a smaller size, but what I would do is I would kind of lay it on top of my hood here, and then I would mark out where that hood ends, just like this, and then I would just connect those markings and cut off the bottom. So this is a hood that I'm using for another project. As you can see, I cut it out at the bottom following that hood that I have, and then as you can see it's a little bit bigger, so I would just kind of ruffle the end and kind of make it meet up a little. Okay, so now that you have your hood cut out how you want it, you are going to grab it, and I usually like to meet up the top here so that it's not in my way. And then I'll go to the back, find the middle, flip it around, find that middle, and then I kind of just fold it over my finger in a S shape. So as you can see, it's kind of like folded up in an S, and then bring them all together and clip. Okay, so again, find that middle, fold it over in that kind of a S sandwich shape, and then just clip it. Okay, and once you have that done, it will look kind of like if there's little darts there. And now you'll just add that on to your romper as you would a regular hood. It's going to be a little bit thicker there where you sandwiched it, but it works out just fine. Just go slow when you're sewing over it. And you can adjust those folds to make them bigger or smaller to fit your neck hole better. But that's just another option if you don't want to make the whole hood and have a hood that works. And at that point, you'll have all your pieces that you need, and you'll just sew it up like you would any other pattern. And there you have it, your upcycled hoodie. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see all your cute upcycles.